Hey everyone, it's Will, Gamer Dad, with another video for you. So hopefully everyone had a great new year. It's now 2024, and many of us, if not most of us, are still playing Another Eden Global. Hopefully we can continue playing this for many years to come as we approach simultaneous servers with Japan. Now, first off, I'd like to give a shout out to one of my Patreon supporters, Frank Wilson. Thanks for your support. We do finally have one update that again gets us even closer to Japan. I think we're only one unit behind Japan. So for those who've been following along, by the end of the month, we should be in simultaneous servers, which will make things interesting for us trying to do things with Japan, but more importantly, hopefully showcase some of Global's best talents out there as well. Now in this case, as of tomorrow night, about 24 hours from now, we do have update version 3.5.10. Now, technically, this is a new App Store or Play Store update, and so iOS users may get this a couple of hours early. However, the banner does not go live until 24 hours from now. Also, apparently, there have been some glitches with Android devices, and so I guess they are working on it. However, you know, hopefully, for those who are using Android, this doesn't affect you too much. I have read many comments from some of my viewers as well as subscribers that there are a lot of widespread technological issues. WFS should really make this a priority, because otherwise, if you can't play the game, what is the point of, supporting the game if you can't play it? Now, that being said, there is a new dev letter, and more importantly, as of this update, I do believe they have now upgraded the dual subscription services. The newest Cat Express ticket, which is basically a skip ticket for dungeons. I remember many years ago, WFS had either implied or stated that this would never occur. However, years later, we do have this available to skip through dungeons that you've cleared before. Now, there are limitations to certain ones you can't do, which are usually puzzle-based or, choice-based. But for the vast majority of them, you can definitely use them. And even for free players like us, we can get 10 tickets for free as a one-time gift. Now, obviously, if you have the dual subscriptions, you'll have access to this each and every month. And more of that, because with this month does come the revamped and upgraded subscription service. Now, the main bulk of the update obviously is AS Alma. And unfortunately, just as was confirmed, or suspected earlier on, all future units that are released, including ASs and ESs, are going to be coming out fully Stellar Awakened, which means for free-to-play players or even light spenders, you will not be able to get their Stellar Awakened abilities, even if you get the 5 treatises immediately and side grade. You'll then have to use 3 All Cosmos star charts in order to get that. You get 1 per month, remember, from the free trials. I'll put a link in the description below that shows my video, just as a quick review to do all your monthly trials. There are some stones and other goodies in there as well. Now, AS Alma is interesting. Not sure if, instead of having full offense, she actually has awesome defense. And not only that, her zone setting move is going to be great. So remember that originally, Alma, being the first Crystal Zone setter, had to VC in, and obviously there is no way to kind of activate them from the front line. In this case, she can just VC in, actually, no, she cannot VC in anymore. Her AS has that removed, which is actually quite unfortunate. But that being said, on battle start, when the user is in the front line, and you either have between 2 and 4 crystal characters, her counting as one of them, you can deploy Crystal Zone right off the bat. If you have 4, and you have already, enhanced those Stellar Awakened abilities on the board, then you're going to have an Awakened Crystal Zone, very similar to all the other newest units that have been released earlier. Just like before, she does have kind of a overpowered lunatic state. I believe her normal style was called the trance state, and I think this one's called alchemic high state. So very similar mechanic. This one's a little bit different in that instead of getting 5 all at once, you get 5 at battle start, which is the same. You get 5 when activating Lunatic, which I think is also the same from Alma normal style. However, you do get 1 of these stacks called Arcanas per attack action. And if she her Lunatic is copy, so I believe that means you get 2 stacks per attack. I'm not sure if that's 100% true, but that should be the case. And when you have 5 Arcana stacked at turn start, you will enter Alchemic High State right off the bat. So technically starting, she should start it right off the bat on turn 1, because you have 5 stacks at the beginning of the battle, and then enter that. When you are in this high state, it's very similar to Trance. The stat abilities are the same: power, int, and speed of user plus 50, and these are raw stats, not a percentage boost. So that's very, very nice. Instead of having pure attack power, this one also activates Guard. And you know what Guard is, right? That's called Ultimate Defense. For anyone who needs extra tanking, if you don't like AS Radius, AS Lovely, this Guard is a guaranteed tank. It's not those critical guards like, Sora or Dunerath Altar. This one is straight out 100% tanking, continuous hold ground, no ability to die unless you've been disabled with things like stun or, those kind of things. And it only works while you're at Alchemic High States. So when you activate Alchemic High State, you do get the 2 turns Guard. You can reactivate Alchemic High States. However, the mechanic behind this is that you will now require double of the Arcana stacks in order to reactivate the high state. So it's not able to be abused completely. However, you get 5 for the beginning, and you can get 5 from the Lunatic activation at least 1 time. You also get 1, like I said, for each attack move, and if copy counts as a double, then it'll be 2 per attack. So when you activate the Alchemic High State, it costs 5 for the first try, 10 for the next try, 20, 40, and 80. So obviously 40 and 80 is probably not doable. 10 is on a pretty much active after turn 1. You probably get essentially 4 turns of critical of Guard, and even 20 may not be impossible, again depending on the number of moves and whether or not they count a single attack as 1 or a copied attack as 2. So, if you spam a first turn AF and you get a number of attacks in, you'll probably have enough right away after the 2 turns to get another 2 turns. So already in that sense is a better tank. You'll have 4 turns of tanking back to back to back, which is quite nice actually. I'm also not sure if this will have a 1-turn deactivation, because you can't enter Alchemic High State if you're already in Alchemic High State, but I would imagine that based on how they program things in general, you would fade off Alchemic High State and re-enter. I hope that there isn't a 1-turn gap in between, and if there is, I'm sure you can use someone like Pride to tank for that 1 turn. Not only that, she still retains a lot of her 4-star moves. Remember, one of the main things about Alma is she was able to penetrate with Magic Barrier Pierce, and she still has that 4-star move. It does the Aether Oratio, is not the Alchemia version, which is the 5-star move. It still has a very decent damage modifier, and it does pierce barriers, which will still be very useful in Magic Team. So now you have a Magic tank, actually. It is a crystal type attack, but there are ways around that using, either AS Nakoko or whatever. But on a Magic Team, you can still welcome a barrier pierce as long as they are vulnerable to, crystal. Don't forget, she also still has Brain Record, which will detect the weaknesses, and I believe it'll convert her attack to the weakness of the enemy if it has a weakness. So again, neutral won't be beneficial. However, weakness, which there are still enemies to have that, then you'll have that ability to kind of modify your own unit to deal tons of damage to the enemy. But what's more important is that, remember that she has a new AS move. There are always 2 of them. The first one is going to be a Magic Crystal AoE. Inflicts stacks of Elemental Break Crystal, so very similar to the Monolkas or the world where, there's tons of Elemental Breaks out there. If she's in the high state, which is her trance move or whatever, it's going to do a lot more damage, and you'll inflict 6 stacks of Elemental Break Crystal and increase the buff. Oh, by the way, she does guarantee crit rate for the whole team. She also increases type attack by 50. And that's quite good. And don't forget that this elemental break can also change to the target weakness of the enemy. So if you use Brain Record and then use this move, not only are you attacking the weakness of the enemy, it will also inflict elemental break on the enemy that corresponds to that weakness, and hopefully your other team members can exploit that and blow away the enemy with no issues whatsoever. Did I mention she does have Barrier Pierce? Now finally, her other move is called Reflective Bullet. This is her counter, heal, and attack as well. So you have to use this move, unfortunately. She doesn't naturally counter with an attack, but when she does use this move, it doesn't do much. Crystal type magic attack on all enemies inflicts rage, and it activates the counter attack. It also does give a type res plus 50, so nice and healthy shield there, not just in case you need it since you have guard anyways. And then when she gets attacked, it'll counter with a full attack of crystal magic AoE XL. It'll heal HP 30%, MP 10%, and in high state, it'll do a lot more damage, plus restore ×2, which is 60% and 20% respectively. So she's going to be an extremely powerful DPS with counter heal and actual real guard, aka ultimate defense. And so and don't forget, she can set zone as well on battle start. Now again, just like the other enemies, I guess the other new versions of the SA units, doesn't look like she has a move that starts or continues zone. So if it gets broken, there's no move that can reset it, which is kind of silly. Hopefully there are ways around that. Now remember that she has an SA. The Stellar Awakened abilities allow her to target a single party member, similar to Efi. You know how Efi can give people Barrier Pierce? Not many people use it very much, but it is possible. This one can target a party member, give them a link, which I guess gives crystal attack after any attack, and also gives the unit Barrier Pierce for 3 times. Now I don't know if that means 3 hits or 3 moves. And it also restores targets, which is your team members, statuses, and removes debuffs. Now remember, the removing debuffs is actually quite nice. That should also mean power, int, and speed debuffs, you know, those red ones. And so if we have enemies, bosses that apply them, which there are plenty now, there are only a few units that can do that, and Alma AS is one of them. And so this is great if you use it during Stellar Burst. It'll give everyone Barrier Pierce for 3 times, and then restore statuses and removes debuffs, and restores everyone full HP, MP, and revives all of the dead party members. Okay, so now you see where the level of SA units are going. Hey, why not revive everyone from the dead, just like a Tetra? Except you can use this as a Stellar Burst, and you know, you can just win that way as well. There's other things about her Stellar, obviously, that, you know, if you activate it and she can fill her gauge. Her gauge basically fills when attacking an enemy weakness. So she won't be able to contribute to fights in terms of charging her SA gauge when fighting neutral. However, I mean, if you have other units in front to charge an SA gauge, then it shouldn't be a big issue anyways. So lots of information there. Really, the only downfall is that she can't set zone with a move that I can see, which is really, really unfortunate. However, lots of potential here, and anyone who has ultimate defense is always very useful nowadays with bosses doing scam attacks against you. Alright, so for those who really like Astral Archive, and I know there are some of you out there, you can do some Mythos versions of Astral Archive. I'm going to say I've pretty much given up, not because I am not that skilled, which I am not that skilled, that's true. But mainly, I'm so far behind with all the other Astral Archives, I don't really want to start any new ones. Maybe if 1 or 2 speak to me, I'll try to do those, but unfortunately, I'm not going to be the primary resource for a lot of these Astral Archive, and I do apologize for that. Like I said, there are just so many other things going on. Haven't even finished the main story, Okay, this does have a pickup bonus, as most of these feature banners will have. And so if you do hit the AS on the first hit, then you automatically Star Awaken 3 out of 3. Otherwise, you can be the 3 Cosmos, all Cosmos star charts in order to do that. And Faithfuls obviously do that as well. There is a paid Ways We Walked. you can get all the ASs. I don't believe any of them will be able to help you with the Stellar Awaken system. However, you do get to round out your team if you need one of those 10. I'll talk about that more in my Should You Summon tomorrow. Do you like Mystere? She is a crystal unit. And if you do, hey, why not dress her up? I do like the angel wings. I mean, why not? Wing Kitty is only 2 coins. The beret, that's not bad. And the necklace is interesting if you like parading around with Mystere. It is a cute ensemble, but of course, I dress up my cat like Suzette, so who am I to say anything, right? Okay, finally, the list of the skip tickets. You can see them here. I won't spend too much time on them. And I'll just skip right there. So, as I said before, the dual subscription service will have these benefits, and not only the tickets, you'll get the increased Spirit Gems, which will offset some of the cost of buying those retro star chart style specific star charts for you. You actually get quite a bit for either subscription, 50 tickets, so not too bad. And so I guess you get the one, I guess you get a full complement of 50, and then if you have both subscriptions, you'll get 6. That doesn't seem like a lot, actually. Oh, 5 full rounds, I guess. Your maximum is 50. So you can do 50 times 6, I guess, right? You get 1 full complement and you can restock 5 times. That's quite a bit, actually. Even if it's only 50 times 5, that's 250. If you have the heavens. And most of you who do subscribe obviously have double subscriptions anyway. So if you think about it, anywhere from 300 to or more. That's quite a lot, actually. So that will cover all your real requirements in terms of burning your keys, getting your resources, getting those 100 battles in, and so on and so forth. So for those who end up subscribing to the dual subscription and getting these tickets, let me know in the comments below or in a future video how that works out for you, because obviously I won't have access to it, so I won't have any kind of opinion on the quality of life increase. But for those who spend, please let me know. I'm actually quite interested to see whether or not you feel that's added value to the subscriptions. I think this should update the all like the star chart fragments as well, hopefully. I don't see anything here about it. That is the 10 tickets for everybody and Spirit Gems, which honestly, 1 chance script's kind of cheap, to be honest. This is the catch-up campaign bonus. Honestly, devs, you should have given us 5 or 10. It's free anyways, and that's not really the bottleneck for most veteran players. Now, if you're new to the game, at least, again, give 5. Because if you give 5, someone can upgrade a unit right off the bat. Honestly, feels kind of cheap, and the chance scripts are relatively plentiful in the end game anyways. So, I have to say that's a no. That's really unfortunate that way. Alright, so let me know how you feel about the AS Alma. How powerful is her kit? And her kit looks quite good, honestly. But more importantly, now that we've finally confirmed our first AS needing the SA version and all the star charts associated with it, how do you feel about the system? Does the system still speak to you? Do you still feel positive, neutral, or negative? I know there have been some polls on the AE subreddit, so definitely check that out if you want some more information to see what the community at large feels about these updates. For me, again, I've shared a lot of my viewpoints about that publicly, and so I won't review that with you. It's a tough go, unfortunately, and even for paid players, it's just going to cost you a lot more, because 4.5 unfortunately is not going to do anything. Now for these banners, which are the AS and ES, I can argue that if you're pulling anyways, it actually doesn't affect you. So in that sense, AS and ES is not as painful. It really does affect the normal styles a lot more, but it does affect anyone who kind of mitigates their cost of purchasing with side grades. Like say you side grade half, pull on half. This option isn't available to you as of these new SA units. Anyways, looking forward to at least looking at the Astro Archive and seeing if there's anything interesting. Good luck to all of you pulling, and of course we'll come back tomorrow with the Should You Summon on AS Alma. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.